Good morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 29th day of November 2022. My name is Sam Gituku. You're just in time for the conversation on the state of healthcare. And I want to introduce my panelists here in studio. We have Dr. Davji Atela, who is the Secretary General, KMPDU. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning, Sam.
And it's good to see you. Terry Ramadhani is the Chief Executive Officer for KEMSA, Kenya Medical Supplies Authority Agency?
Authority.
Right, it is good to see you. How has it been? I hear you've been there for 6 months.
It's been interesting.
Right.
You know, lots of challenges, but also lots of achievements.
We'll talk about that. Dr. You've been SecGen, is it a year now or more?
It's a year and 4 months, about 15 months now. 15, yes.
How is it managing the doctors?
It's a balance. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, both internally and externally. Internally, it's because you have to deliver the mandate that you're given. But externally is that things don't move. I mean, you may write letters, try to engage the different stakeholders, the government, the different employers, but at least until you become a bit more disruptive, nothing moves. So that's the
disruptive. I saw a statement of yourself on Sunday. We'll be talking about that later on. But I'm also interested in the story that you see on the front page of the Daily Nation. Reprieve for farmers as court puts the brakes on GMO imports. And then on the front page of the Standard, you'll see court stops GMOs as Linturi disowns Korea. Of course, this is a decision that was made back in September or so, I think, that to the tune of lifting a ban that existed for more than 10 years on the importation of GMOs and growth, or is it cultivation of GMO crops in our farms. Now the courts have stopped that process until a case that has been presented to them is heard and determined. Daktari, have the doctors' fraternity taken a position on this? Because there has been a lot of conversation, sometimes experts, sometimes political experts, about whether they are safe or not, whether they should be coming to the country or not. Do you have a position from a medical perspective?
No, we've been having a lot of discussion regarding the issues of GMO, and when you look at it on one side, the aspect of it increasing production is doing so because then there's more reduced pest infestation for this particular product, and even the way its production is done is quite different. That's basically what is advantage that it has. But when you look at the chemical aspect of it and the history on what the controversies that are being put forth, for example, there's a lot of stories and papers that indicates that there's more carcinogen results of using GMO. And one of the papers that you are looking at is that those countries that have been actually using GMOs, they have a higher incidences of cancers compared to those countries that have not been using it. So basically, I think just like the European Union, there needs to be more research that is done and more documentations before a country gets into actually using the GMO. When you go into it only for the productions of the food without looking at the ramification or the implication it has on the population, then it becomes disadvantageous. So that's why, as a union, we are getting down to look at it that, as a country, do we really have a lot of expertise in healthcare that in case we start using these and we have a lot of say the conditions or rather increase or surge in the cancers or other any conditions that will come by it, do we have enough personnel or enough mechanisms to handle that? Because that's what actually has been evident in different scientific papers. So there's actual need, just like the European Union and regulations, it's all over the world, that before you actually put something into use, you must be sure the outcome and the side effect that it has on the human.
Coming from a doctor, that's a very serious statement. But is there already a group of people that are already looking into that? Yes, there is such papers from different countries, but also from our very own initiatives to really determine, because if the lifting of the ban is sustained, meaning that we can import or we can cultivate, then there will be effects, if at all they're informed by research to say that what you're saying, more carcinogenic or cancer incidences?
You know, the truth is that the genetically modified organisms, whether plants or animals, the most positive thing that is known about them is the production. They become more resistant to the drought, more resistant to to any of these particular weather conditions and to all that. But then, because they're modified, they have a lot of implications. A lot of chemicals that are different from those that are not modified. That's why even the promoters of this particular, the GMOs, they themselves in their consumptions, they go organic. So you see there's a situation whereby even in those developed countries where the organic food is made for those who can afford and it makes it very expensive, while the inorganic, like the GMOs, are for those who the poor in society. So it's not. It's very important that when we want to put it out for consumption and for the country, we don't need to rush and lift the ban and say it's available. And we are fighting on that because as a country we have a big. I've seen this discussion. We have very big lands. We have big. We are in a tropical environment. If we invest in our agriculture well enough, the way it's necessary, then I think we can't fail to produce even the maize or the crops that we need for consumption.
Yes. Wow, very important views there.